Welcome back. I'm going to continue now with the rest of the training for today for our fundamental MEDEPS and diary training. We started this morning with our appointments and looked through our diary administration. We looked at our clinical information. And again, just to mention, please, if you are focusing on clinical, then please look at our web application. This is the training or the webinar for our desktop app for our GoodX system. The web application is ideal for your clinical paperless environment. Then we looked at our billing and a multi-invoice screen and just make sure all the codes are loaded from the scripting straight through to dispensing, straight through to consumables, to my actual procedures and codes. So then we looked at our billing correction. So we talked about the credit notes and the redo function, and it's very important that you remember that you do not use journals to fix accounts. You only use journals for bad debt discounts and write-offs. And we looked at the credit note where you will always write back the full account or the full invoice that you've built. You will only do partial credit notes when you work with private patients. The moment I deal with medical aid claims, I cannot work with partial amounts and partial codes and partial billing. It's either a full claim or not. It's just easier for the medical aid to handle, and that's typically how they also would prefer it. If you do it otherwise, you might get rejections in the future. So now I'm going to focus on the claim administration, and just be aware, please, this is a training system, so I do not have information to show you now because it's not a live system. So this training will also be covered again with you when you actually are live, and you will be shown by your FCL, or you can come in for advanced training when we cover this claim administration again. Now, this is a very, very important part in GoodX. Please make sure you understand the claim history part and where to go and what I need to do to look and how I need to do this. And this is where I can go to the manual. After billing corrections, I've got my claim history screen. So this is where we will start the process. But before I get there, I just want to explain a few points here, and then I will go into that function on GoodX. First of all, this whole process began again when a patient was booked, and I've done the validation and the import. I should not get any rejection because of the dependent data that's wrong. Date of birth, dependent codes, ID numbers, or spelling of the names and names. The receptions should have imported this via the validation functions when I opened up the file. So very important. Then I should only get rejections at the end of the day because of wrong codes, wrong ICD-10s, authorizations, and maybe some coding that is actually wrong. And that's the rejections I want to focus on. And this is why we say, and it's very important to remember this, that the medical aid must get your claim. Do not assume that the claim will just simply go to the medical aid once you press a button in any system. Doesn't matter whether you use GoodX or any other possible system. Please follow up your claims. You're the only one that can make sure the medical aid will reach it. If you phone them and you get a message from them that says, do not have your claim, please resubmit it, you must just simply resubmit that claim. Make sure the medical aid receives your claim, otherwise no payment will take place. So the first process also of the claims is to make sure that the claim went through. So it starts with the doctor with the billing, or whoever's doing the billing. So when I go to that patient and we went to my invoices, and I see this is a bonita, so I know this must probably be a claim, and I check my patient details, go in, and I should pick up here at the bottom left corner where it says none, it should say switch. So I know the doctor can see, then I can switch this claim. I put in my ICD-10 code, and I put my 0190 for instance, and when I click on post, to ask you send now, send later, or cancel. Send now, immediately the claim will go through to medical aid. Send and wait, show me the claim. And the send later means you will submit it on a later phase, almost like the old batch submissions from Health Breach and MediSwitch in the previous days. So now I load my code, click on post, and immediately I will see a pop-up when I click on send and wait to see if this is rejected. And like we showed you on the actual manual, it will show you a pop-up in green that says process or rejected. And you will react on that screen, whether you the doctor or the treating provider or the admin person. But the moment I see that pop up, that's what I focus on, and if there's anything in red, I need to fix it. So obviously if the patient's still standing in front of you and it's a dependent code, you know the validation was not done, fix the validation and immediately resubmit the claim to the medical aid. And this is where we go into our claim history screen. So at any time you can access that screen to see all your claims that was done during the course of the day, week, months, even years, depending how long you were working on GoodX. But the first process is, as if I use from the diary, I go immediately into the account inquiries. Once I'm in account inquiries, I should be able to see my billing, my invoice. I should see the switch status, if it's processed or rejected or medical aid accepted or acknowledged. Depending on that status, I should at any time click on that EDI response to call up my claim again. So if I go to Mr. Buta, same, go into account inquiries, click on the claim. You should see here also a switch tab. If you click on that, there will be more options available. But if you click on the EDI response, you should see your claim response from the medical aid. As you can see on my training system, I cannot provide you with that information. But the moment you go into your training manual, you will see I just want to get to my account inquiries where I can see that. Learning.goodx.co.za, and there's my account inquiries. Just want to get to it here at the top again. Account inquiries. You will see there's a GoodX switch tab at the bottom side of the screen, and when you click on that, it should give you also more access to your switching options. So please make sure that you will see that when you're on your live system, and you should be able to view it from there. That's the first process where you start, is from the account inquiries to view your claims. That's how you check your everyday billing as you bill. But in the end of the day, someone must follow up on all the claims. That's typically our admin people or admin personnel, and someone should be able to access all the claims that has taken place up till to date. So to see that is very simple. I go into my MEDEPS. Once you're in your MEDEPS, you go to your EDI, GoodX Switch, Claim History. This is a very important function. Please make sure you know how to access this. EDI, GoodX Switch, Claim History. Once I click on this, this should show you all your claims that you've done up till today's date. And what's very nice about this function is you filter it on today's date or yesterday's date, the service date, and you can see all the claims of yesterday. And then you should be able to see a list of all the invoices that you've done with all their statuses, from processed to accepted to rejected to errors to item level rejection. So if you look at your manual here at your EDI claim history, this is how it more or less will look like. So the moment you go into the claim history, you will see a list of all the invoices with all the EDI statuses. And now you need to work through this list to make sure you work off all your rejections. I do not want stale claims, so any problem here must get attention as quickly as possible. So here I will go and filter under EDI status, and I will select my errors first, because the errors are the ones that tells me there was a connection error and my claim did not go to the medical aid at all. You must select that line, click on account button here at the bottom, click on the invoice and click on resubmit. Get the claim to the medical aid as quickly as possible. Then the next status you focus on is the to send. To send means someone clicked on the send later button while doing the billing, or you build multiple dates with the new episode screen function where there's multiple data, multiple doctors. Immediately all those claims will be to send. You must come into this claim history every day and send all these to send claims by clicking on that send all button. So in other words, when you open up this claim history screen, there should be no errors and no to send options on your statuses. You should only have medical aid rejections, switch rejections, item level rejections, and process claims, medical aid acknowledged claims, and medical aid as medical switch accepted claims. So just look at that. Now your switch accepted claims and your MF acknowledged claims, your MF ACK claims means your switch accepted the claim or got it, and it will submit the claim. So in other words, it's not a real-time medical aid. And the claim most probably will be paid a week or two later, depending on the payment run of that medical aid. Your medical aid acknowledged claims is typically a response back from the medical aid that tells you we did receive your claim, but we are not sure what we are going to do with this claim. In other words, I'm not sure whether they're going to process or reject it, or partial rejections on it. So that status can update actually during the course of the day, or it can stay like that until payment is received from the remittance, from the medical aid via the remittance advice. Your medical aid rejections, your switch rejections, in other words, and your MF rejections is the ones I focus on. So typically I look at my errors first, then I look at my 2 cents, and then you focus on your switch rejection claims. Because those are the guys that typically, because the medical aid is wrong, or the membership number is wrong, or something there, so even the switch rejected claims, it did not even reach the medical aid. So please sort out your switch rejection claims. So you click on the red line, and immediately you go to the top here that says view response, and you'll view your claim and the reason why it was rejected. If you cannot figure out on the text why, pick up the phone, phone the medical aid. We receive this text directly from the medical aid, so they do not give us in detail always what is the reasons, but they will show you dependent codes are wrong, date of births are wrong, you're overcharging, or or any specific reasons will be shown. But in certain cases, you need still to contact the medical aid to check the reasons why they are rejecting these claims. So I sort out my errors, I sort out my 2 cents, I sort out my switch rejections, and then I focus on the medical aid rejections claims, the MFREs. That's the ones that could be no funds, or it could be other reasons, encoding or something like that. So check them first, click on them, say view response, call up the reason for why, and decide what needs to happen. And then you look at your item level rejection as the last one. The item level rejections where the medical accepted your claim is most probably processed, but there will be short payments. It could also be that the last 2 lines out of the 5 codes was rejected because of no funds. So it's still an item level process rejection, so they still process the claim, they will pay whatever is available to pay, but you still need to check it. Because here you can pick up where you load your codes incorrect for whatever possible reasons. And help the doctor or the person doing the billing to pick up the medical aids where there's always issues with certain coding. Like key care, your care cross certain medical aids that does not pay for certain procedures. Rather make then a decision how to handle those procedures better in the future. So once I've looked at all this, I filter my EDI responses. You can also do it here under status. So just put under tick, put on your tick here, filter between dates, and put in your service date, apply your dates, and say apply filter. Once you apply the filter, then the system will filter all the items out. This is only the invoices, and then you will click on the invoice and click on view response. If you want to see more detail, click on the invoice and click on account, and then you will work from there. Now there's the send all at the top, and that's to send all the 2 cent claims, and the patient validation is for those rejections where your medical aid was wrong, or the dependent code or date of birth is wrong. You can click on that validation and immediately update your patient's file by doing a validation import directly from the medical aid. So please make sure you can do that. That should have been reception's job, but if you get to this point, you can still do it yourself by fixing it by doing a patient validation. And always remember also, only Discovery can do a benefits check. When I book my patient, reception can actually do a benefits check for 450 or 500, 700, depending on the amount you specify to us, and we can see if there's day-to-day benefits available. So now, what do I do on this screen then further? This is an all-in-one screen. We love this screen in the sense of there's a lot of functions I can do here in one place. So that's why, from an admin person, your claim management will take place from this screen. So please make sure you know how to get to this. You go to your EDI history by going to EDI, GoodX switch, claim history. Filter your dates, click on patient validation to fix it, click on your responses to see it, and then click on your data and account. The data is to fix the file, and account will be to resubmit and redo. And this is where we say, okay, so what is your steps if I do have a rejections? What do I need to do? Also here from the manual, we show you here how to filter, click on validations, how to call up the response, filter and claim history, how to access all of this and see other functions that you can do here, even access your notes. I will go into this also a bit more detail, but also EDI response reversals, resubmissions, reverse your accounts, resubmit claims. When do you need to do what? That's the biggest question here, is how do I know how to react on a rejection? And this is where we try and make it very simple for you. When I look at this rejections in GoodX, we talk about the RR. Reverse, redo, resubmit, resolve. So when do I reverse my claim? When do I redo my claim? When do I resubmit a claim? And when do I resolve my claim? So that's typically how we look at it. So the 4 R's or the RR, depending how I want to look at it. The first option is reverse. So when do I reverse a claim? You will see in this EDI switch there is a reverse button. So when do I use this? This is very simple question you can ask yourself. Did my medical aid receive my claim? Are they going to pay something? Yes. Reverse. Why would I reverse the claim? Is to send an electronic reversal to the medical aid asking them to stop that claim. It's exactly the same as picking up the phone, this phone discovery, and asking them to stop a claim on this membership number. Why would you do that? Because there was a rejection, because your coding was wrong. And that's why you would do a reversal. When do I do a resubmit? You can only do the resubmit and redo from out of the account. And you will remember that from, if I go into an account on any of my patients, I will have here at the bottom a resubmit and a redo. So the resubmit means the medical aid did not receive my claim. So I want to resubmit the claim with the same codes, the same patient, the same date, the same ICD teams, the same amounts, again to the medical aid course. They're telling me they did not receive my claim. That's when I will use a resubmit. So you will also use the resubmit on that EDI history on your errors and the 2 cents. You can also use the resubmissions. So the resubmission means the medical aid did not receive your claim and they're asking you to submit it again. There's no new billing, there's no credit notes, and it's typically also no reversals involved, but it depends on the situation when a reversal will be involved in a resubmission claim. So if you feel that it's been rejected the whole time, then try the reversal and see if the medical aid reacts on that. But remember, a resubmission means the medical aid did not receive your claim, so why do you need to reverse anyway? It just means there will be certain scenarios where it probably will take place. So please make sure you understand when do I need to resubmit and when do I do the redo. The redo, we've done a bit before with the billing corrections. The redo is when my billing was wrong. So something in my billing codes, my coding, my ICD-10s, or my amounts more precisely, amounts in the codes are wrong and I want to redo the billing. So I need to reverse the claim first because the medical aid most probably already received my claim. They do not want to pay for a specific code. So now I go into the account, I redo that specific invoice, fix the code, and post it as a new claim to the medical aid. So that item will be on this claim history always be a rejection because you're sending a new claim. So you will have on the same file a rejected status and a new invoice with a process status most probably. So in that sense we get to the point where you then can resolve that rejection by just right clicking on it and mark it as resolved. You can always see your resolved claims by putting on the stick here that says include resolved claims. So every time I come in here, I click on fetch and refresh. The fetch and refresh is make sure I get all my feedback back, typically from my MFACK statuses. It means I do not have yet a medical aid response, By clicking on fetch and refresh, you're forcing the system to check to see if there is a response on that patient's claim. So please remember, we talk here about the double R, or the 4 R's. I reverse my claim first if the medical aid received it. Then I go into the account, I click on the invoice, and then I do redo. A new invoice will go through to the medical aid, and then I resolve the old claim, and if it is processed, I resolve the new claim. When do I use the resubmission? I go into the account and I will resubmit the claim. That is for my errors and my 2 cents. And at any stage where the medical aid tells you I did not receive your claim, please submit it again. That's a resubmission before my last option, I go to a paper claim. So please make sure that when I get to a paper claim as well, go into your notebook and tell GoodX or tell whoever else is looking at this account that I submitted a paper claim. So this EDI history, please make sure you get to the screen on a daily basis, on a second or a third day at the most. Run through all your rejections. So typically how we tell you here to work, if you want to only use this for claim purposes, because the screen can also help to only resolve claims, to look at actually when they are paid as well. Just depends on how you want to use this. But the idea is you should be able to come in and resolve all your process accepted, acknowledged claims, and only focus on your rejections. Once your rejections are sorted, it should also be resolved. If you do this on a constant daily, second day, third day basis, you should be on top of your claims, and you should never have ever to explain to anybody why you have a stale claim. Please make sure you understand this process. If there's any questions on this, please ask your FCL or book yourself additional training in the future, or via TeamViewer if you are far from GoodX facilities, so that we can help you run through this process. If there's any questions, please let us know. Contact your FCL as necessary. And then I'm going to close this section, and we're going to move over then to our receipting and receipting corrections, and then we're going to end with debt management. So thank you, and see you in the next session.